An SJSU student who escaped last week's 2-alarm apartment fire tells her story.
From scorching hot temperature this week to a possible 20-degree cool down.
And I'm Ingrid Almaraz, live in downtown San Jose. Find out how SJSU administration reacted when SJSU students decided to protest the success fees. I'll have a live report. Update News starts now.
From the School of Journalism and Mass Communications at San Jose State University, your source for what's happening with a fresh perspective on today's issues. You're watching Update News.
Hello and welcome to Update News. I'm Heather Miller.
And I'm Dustin Palacios. Thanks for joining us.
Angry students marched onto Tower Hall this week. Update News reporter Ingrid Almaraz is live with word the SJSU administration is finally taking action.
Thanks, Heather. About 100 students marched in protest on Tuesday, voicing their disapproval over a possible fee increase scheduled this fall. However, this could be changing after President Kayomi announced a rollback. Angry, disappointed, and hopeful that they will be heard, students voiced their frustration with the administration, saying they are not for profit. 18-year-old Connor Carroll says he has the highest income in his family and is worried the success fee could affect his future.
So a lot of my education is solely on me and like trying to save up the money to go to school. And if there's a success fee going up, it's going to be really hard for me to go to school, and I might end up having to just drop out.
When protesters reached their destination in front of Tower Hall, President Kayomi made a surprise appearance.
That there's a lot of confusion and action needs to happen immediately.
Kayomi announced the fee would be unbundled next semester to avoid confusion, but students were still left unhappy, claiming that he left questions unanswered.
I appreciate the fact that he did come out. However, I felt very hurt with the fact when he turned his back and we were saying we have more questions.
University Provost Andy Feinstein says he is proud of the students for speaking up and getting involved.
I think we're going to start right now, first of all, working with students, understanding what their concerns are, and working towards the end of the semester and finding out a resolution to reducing these fees.
After the walkout, President Kayomi issued a statement via email saying that he plans to conduct student polls and take the results in consideration when setting the success fees for the poll. He also said that students should expect to see a fee reduction, but did not say when. I'm live in San Jose. Ingrid Almaraz, Update News.
The SJSU community is reaching out to a Spartan football player. Jared Leaf remains in serious condition from the 2-alarm fire that burned his apartment last week. 11 other students have lost their homes.
When he was running out, we could actually see like embers on his back, like still lit and everything on him.
Sydney Burton was a resident who was displaced after the fire that left SJSU linebacker Jared Leaf with second-degree burns.
He comes running out of the flames, and he comes running down the balcony of the building and down the street, and he's screaming at the top of his lungs.
It was around 2 a.m. that morning when firefighters told Burton that she had to move out.
And they told us that our apartment had the most water damage from being, I guess from the firefighters' efforts of dousing the flames, obviously. And since we were 2 floors below, then all the water came down on us.
Burton is now staying at a hotel, and Leaf is in the hospital in critical condition and has undergone 2 surgeries.
According to the physicians and the family, everything went well, and so we're encouraged by that. The biggest thing is we want to keep him in our thoughts and prayers, because I think the family feels that. The family feels the love, they feel the support.
Students on campus have been supportive. Sororities held bake sales last week to help out with Leaf's medical bills. Taylor Titus helped fundraise and knew him personally.
I've met him last year, and he's one of the sweetest, nicest football players I've ever met. And hearing that this happened to him was extremely tragic, and nobody deserves to go through what he's going through.
More information about the Student Emergency Fund can be found at www.sjsu.edu.
University police are looking for 4 African-American males who allegedly robbed a man near the MLK library Tuesday night. UPD says the victim was hit on the head with a gun or a stick, and his wallet was taken. This is the latest criminal activities take place on campus. 2 weeks ago, a student had her cell phone taken near the Industrial Studies building last Thursday night. UPD says the student was walking and talking on her cell phone when 3 Hispanic juveniles rode up on bicycles and grabbed her phone out of her hands. A week earlier, police cadet was tackled and had his iPhone stolen near the intersection of 5th and East San Fernando Streets. UPD says cell phones have become easy targets for theft. Students have become so reliant on their cell phones that they become unaware of their surroundings. SJSU foreign exchange student Fatima Garong says she has been receiving SJSU crime alerts before starting this semester.
It's really scary. It's scary, but I think it's a good thing that they are sending us those alarms so that we would be more alert and not be distracted and, just be aware of the surroundings.
Garong also suggests students take advantage of the UPD's escort service. It's an opinion for students now, but beginning in the fall, students will be required to study abroad. The College of Applied Sciences and Arts have made going abroad a requirement for graduation for students entering SJSU this fall.
So we think it's going to help with the job market later on, and we think it'll make their education even more meaningful as you go through that.
He hopes that this requirement will be made clear when students are applying to the college. CASA student Sylvia Aranda studied abroad and got a great experience.
I think study abroad was a great experience. I think that everyone should really try it. It really gave me a greater, bigger perspective of the world.
Students will be able to travel to any country for a little more than the cost of tuition.
As a dean, one of the things that I do already is raise money for the university and for the college. So one of my priority appeals now is to get help support for international study for students.
Any questions about study abroad, visit the office in Clark Hall. Nursing, occupational therapy, and the School of Journalism and Mass Communications are the first to test out what is referred to as a pilot program in the fall of 2014. Over the next 3 years, other CASA departments will be mandating study abroad programs. Dean Bullock says that this will not affect the rate of graduation since students will have advanced planning.
SJSU administration is considering dropping physical education as a graduation requirement. Update News reporter Janet Garcia explains why.
San Jose State students need 2 classes in the kinesiology department to graduate.
If they're trying to keep us in school and to motivate us to finish school, I think one of the things that will inhibit that if we'll not have this playful aspect to it or some fun aspect to it, it will be too stressful.
Now the Academic Senate is debating whether to get rid of the PE requirement.
Feedback from faculty is very divided. Some faculty are in favor of the PE requirement and some faculty are not in favor of the PE requirement.
Kinesiology department judo instructor David Williams says the PE courses prepare students for the future.
The fact that we have a program of physical activity that kids can like and they can go forward with is something that can help them their whole lives. It's not just for right now, it's the whole life.
The Academic Senate is thinking of getting rid of the PE requirement, and we'll take a closer look at the 1996 PE requirement policy and the spring 2013 policy. Students can still take kinesiology classes as electives, and this new policy will affect students who do not put effort in PE classes.
The students who are the ones who aren't in the habit of physical activity or have a disdain for it even, those are the ones that are kind of forced into it by the PE requirement.
It's still unsure if the PE requirements will be cut, but there will be an Academic Senate meeting May 12th for more information. From the Sporting Complex, Janet Garcia, Update News.
Weather, as we know, has been hot news lately. Update News has brought back one of its own to tell us why. Tracy Hinson is a meteorologist at KSBW in Salinas and a former Update News reporter. So Tracy, it looks like it's going to be another hot one today.
Yes, Yes, Heather, it absolutely has. I've already been standing out here for about an hour, and the sea breeze has already started to die down. That's a good sign that it's really going to warm up, as with no wind, there's nothing to cool down those temperatures. So let's take a look at the changes on the way that are already starting to feel today. Right now, it's about 70 degrees outside, and looking at our changes on the way, notice we are still under the influence of high pressure. That cold front behind it, that's the blue with the triangles, well, it's coming right on in. We're really going to feel the impacts of that by tomorrow. So notice this, for Saturday, the entire country is in mild temperatures except for the desert southwest, which will be in about 100 degrees. But this is welcome news for all the devastation that's been going on in the Mississippi, Florida area. With all this mild weather, we won't be expecting any intense weather like we saw over the past couple of days. Notice this, though. As that cold front moves through, we are going to experience quite the cool down and lots of wind. This will be a very windy event. So this is bad news for any fire damage. And notice this, for your weekend forecast, let's focus in on your coastal temperatures, 70s and 80s, and your inland temperatures will be the 80s and the 70s. So there's definitely a cool down on the way. This is wonderful news for everybody who hates the heat. So notice this, it's nice and sunny outside. There are a few clouds up in the sky. Expect those clouds to continue with an increase by Sunday, and the warm but cooler temperatures, we won't see the 90s anymore, will continue throughout the weekend.
May Day brought thousands of people through the streets of downtown San Jose. They demonstrated for immigrant and labor rights.
And one SJSU student is forced to raise his siblings without help from his mother. But first, we asked students how they felt about study abroad being a graduation requirement.
I think it's a good idea because it's a good experience, but if it's going to cost them extra, then I don't like that idea. Because I know I don't live on campus, and so to study abroad would be like the tuition for living on campus.
I think it's a solid idea because it expands your horizons, finally gets you out of your comfort zone, I feel, and you learn and grow a lot from that.
I don't think it should be mandatory because a lot of people have family responsibilities that they have to take care of, and not necessarily everyone could just like leave for a semester or a gap during that situation, and people have to get a passport, and that's also expensive.
They'll get to, experience like a new, I don't know, like a new country, new living style. So I think it's a great opportunity.
Students held a rally on Tuesday to raise awareness on immigration reform. SJSU student David Gonzalez is affected firsthand by immigration and deportation. His mother was being detained in San Diego for months until being deported Wednesday evening. The student mass gathering outside Martin Luther King Library was held to raise awareness to the pressure issue and to spread the voice for the May Day March.
I hope that the elected representatives, they do the right thing and reunite my family, not just my family, because I know it's just one amongst the 11 million stories, but everyone's family, and pass immigration reform. But immigration reform starts with bringing my mother back.
The annual May Day March took place worldwide. Here in San Jose, the community gathered to unite workers and help obtain their rights. Thousands of people marched and chanted on their way to meet with more protesters at Alum Rock Boulevard. They then walked down Santa Clara Avenue to San Jose City Hall. The demonstration ended here with a rally. Many groups, along with the students advocating for higher education, were part of this march.
I'm walking because I support reform for immigration, also for workers' rights, so that's why I'm walking. I think people at San Jose State should be walking as well because this is what is affecting our world. This is directly affecting us.
Ruiz walked in support of SJSU student David Aguilar, whose mother recently was deported back to Mexico.
So with this sign, we're trying to encourage people to call Congress, call the White House, call ICE, to show them that we want this deportation stopped.
The marchers say they were demonstrating for hard-working families in San Jose who are still struggling even though they work at rich companies.
On behalf of the community, hopefully I can say right, I'm just trying to say that we're tired. We want our voices to be heard. We want justice. We want immigration reform. We pretty much want what was promised.
In San Jose, it is also a fight against immigration. You can find more information on the students advocating for higher education by going to sahesjsu.org.
This week's controversial remarks made by the owner of the LA Clippers was one of the subjects discussed by a panel of media experts at SJSU. Update reporter Rigoberto Gomes says this was part of the 6th annual Spieler Media Ethics Symposium.
Four panelists talked about diversity in the media. Journalism and mass media school professor Matthew Cabot moderated.
This is not an MBA thing. This is a nationwide thing that people are upset about. But, he got caught.
Bay Area television journalist Janelle Wang, kinesiology professor Dr. Verdon Andrews, journalism professor Donna Nichols, and Lloyd LaQuesta were on the panel. They all discussed a range of topics in the media from racism, sexual orientation, sexism, and stereotypes, and of course, the controversy involving the NBA owner, Donald Sterling. The panelists were from different backgrounds and shared their stories making it in the media industry.
I think it was educational for us too, because you guys are the next generation and you educated us what people are concerned about right now, in this community. So I thought that was really helpful for us.
Students had questions for the media panelists.
Media is definitely changing from what it used to be, and that there's a lot of different sides and aspects of media that we as a viewer definitely may not know, especially what goes behind the scenes in covering a news story.
Spoler and Media Ethics Symposium was named after Phil and Dean Spoler, who are SJSU alumni and became successful journalists. In front of Dwight Bento Hall, Rigoberto Gomes, Update News.
Latino cultural organization Gente Unida held its 2nd annual Molcajete Fest. Drums played as Aztec dancers entertained students. There was food, drinks, music, and games. Different organizations came together to share their Latino culture.
A collaboration of all the Latino, Hispanic orgs, fraternities, and sororities. So just showing that unity, that we come from similar backgrounds.
Students gathered together and joined the Aztec dancers to a unity circle dance.
Students don't have to wait until June to receive their spring semester grades. The teacher evaluation forms on MySJSU accounts need to be filled out by the May 13th deadline in order for students to view their grades posted on May 28th. When students log on their MySJSU account, they have the option of selecting the online course evaluation or opting out. The teacher evaluations are administered by the Office of Institutional Research and Effectiveness.
And you're able to do it one at a time, and you don't even have to do it all in one sitting if you don't want to. You can take your time. It's not a timed limit.
Students who do not complete their evaluations will not be able to access their grades until June 18th.
The San Jose State Boys and Girls Glee Club got their groove on at the SJSU Concert Hall Monday night. There were performances from the men's a cappella group and all women's choir. Some of their hits were Just the Way You Are by Bruno Mars, Whenever You Call by Mariah Carey, and Fine by Me by Nicholas Wright. Director Jeffrey Benson talks about his favorite piece.
The last piece that we sang, the Shosholoza, is a piece from South Africa. It's a South African freedom song, just sort of fun and exciting for the kids to sing, and just kind of a welcome song and a freedom song from South Africa.
Benson says the Glee Club is open to all students of all majors.
It's one student's passion that teaches others to never judge a book by its cover. From dropping beats to meeting celebrities, this SJSU student taking art to a whole new level. Update News reporter Christian Carrasco has more on the story.
Seeing someone on campus standing at 6 feet 10 inches tall
one would automatically think it's a basketball player. That is not the case with Emilio Cortez. The senior art major is known for his artwork by peers, but also for his turntable skills at night.
I started back when I was a freshman here at San Jose State. Just a couple of my buddies who were DJs, and I don't know, I've always been into music and had my turntables and everything, just kind of took it up and wanted to learn, so they showed me everything.
Leo by day, DJ Too Tall by night, Cortez has amassed quite the following in both fields. Profiled in the Spartan Daily newspaper last year, Cortez displays artwork and connects through Twitter and Instagram to meet his idols and give his signature vinyl pieces to them. From Swedish House Mafia, A-Track, and even Snoop Dogg himself, Cortez has a pix to prove it.
Yeah, I just recently met Snoop Dogg, so that was pretty dope. I mean, never thought I'd see that day that I'd be able to give the chance to give him my artwork.
While Cortez loves music, his true passion is still the artwork. Friends are impressed with this artwork and where it has taken him.
Yeah, definitely, I've seen it. I think it's dope, you know. I like his vinyls, you know, with all the artist pictures on there.
Although artists in both worlds, some are shocked that he's living the loud life given his reserved demeanor.
Emilio had never said anything to me about this other life that he had, and even when I did then get interested and ask him about it, his humility and how he downplayed, you know, what he did was very very much Emilio, you know, to me.
While still spinning for fraternity dances and weddings, Cortez has stepped his game up and is now guest DJing at nightclubs, block parties, and radio stations. The future is only getting brighter for the senior.
Yeah, definitely. Just that's usually, I mean, like kind of my signature pieces, the portraits of different music artists, and yeah, it's definitely what I plan on sticking with. So I mean, it's what I enjoy doing the most, painting them, and being able to give it to them as a gift.
For Update News, I'm Christian Carrasco.
I'm Dustin Dorsey. Coming up, the San Jose State football players prepare for one of the biggest days in their lives. And later, we recognize a coach who received quite an honor this spring. But first, we ask students what exactly does Cinco de Mayo mean to them.
So I'm not sure. It just depends on like who I'm with that day. It's not like Cinco de Mayo, like let's go party and stuff. It's just like okay, if everyone else is doing it, I'll go do it.
I personally never celebrated Cinco de Mayo. I see a lot of advertisements and I hear about it, but I've never really gone out my way to do anything on Cinco de Mayo.
Usually Cinco de Mayo, I'm just hanging out with some friends. You know, not necessarily partying too hard or anything, but I'm not really into the whole, you know, what it really is for. I think it's Mexican Independence Day. Yeah, I'm not like.
And now we have Dustin Dorsey with sports. I hear that a couple of fellow Spartans may be one step closer to the NFL. Dustin?
Yes, they are, Destiny. Let's get to it. Spartan football players are patiently awaiting for their name to be called on draft day.
With the first pick, the Houston Texans select.
May 8th is the start of a 3-day event that is likely to change the lives of former Spartan football players forever. The NFL Draft is when college prospects are selected to be a part of the National Football League. It is said to be a day that is one of the greatest accomplishments in a football player's career.
Yeah, on draft day I'm gonna be mixed with a lot of emotions, excitement, a little anxious, a little, nervous. But I'm just gonna be waiting to see what team gives me a call.
Since their final thrilling victory over Fresno State, the Spartan senior players have been working non-stop in preparation for the draft. Keith Smith, David Fales, and Chandler Jones were among the Spartan players participating in several NFL tryouts this spring. Recently, several Spartans were working out in local pro days hosted by the San Francisco 49ers and the Oakland Raiders. Jim Harbaugh, head coach of the Niners, was quite impressed with quarterback David Fales. Harbaugh named him to be one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the entire 2014 draft after the Niners' local pro day.
For him to say that, that's really a pretty significant statement and exciting for David.
Many other scouts and coaches say that several of the players have been impressive this spring during their workouts.
The NFL will be getting, first of all, and most importantly, a great group of young men, guys that do things the right way.
By the second day of the draft, some analysts predict 3 Spartans will be picked. Fales is projected to be the first Spartan taken on draft day next week. Some, including Jones and Benet Ben-Wickery, will likely be taken during the second or third day of the draft.
Most guys see me around the 3rd round, middle 3rd round, so I mean hopefully that's how it continues to go.
The rest just hope to be given a chance at a contract. But what exactly will these Spartan players bring to the NFL?
Hard worker, a man of faith, and a leader.
You're going to get a guy that's going to work hard all the time, so I'm going to go out there and compete and work my butt off to help the team out.
The NFL will benefit from these seniors, and I'm excited to follow their career and wish them nothing but the best of luck.
The players say they've made their mark at Spartan Stadium and hope they'll also leave a mark in the NFL.
The draft will start this Thursday, May 8th at Radio City Music Hall in New York City. A night of rough pitching left the Spartan baseball team at the hands of defeat Tuesday night. The San Jose State baseball team committed 3 errors and gave up 7 runs in the loss against Santa Clara University. As it has happened many times this season, inexperienced pitching resulted in SJSU giving up 12 hits. In the 6th inning, first baseman Matt Carroll hit a 2-run home run to make the score 4-3. However, the team gave up 3 runs in the 7th and ended up losing the game 7-4.
I mean, this is a game that we had an opportunity to win, and when you play another school from down the road, I mean, this is, you want to beat these guys.
With only 2 weeks left in the season, Coach Nakama says the Spartans have things to work on if they want to finish strong. The weather's warmed up this week on campus, making it perfect for students to get a bit physical. Associated students held the first Superior Spartans event Thursday on the AS Rec Lawn. The lawn was full of fun challenges for students such as a gladiator pit, a rock climbing mountain, and a mechanical bull. The event was held to promote Spartans to be adventurous and get active. Students were glad to have some fun outdoor activities between their classes.
It's a little encouraging when you're stuck in classes all day and then you can come outside and just play like kids.
Yeah, definitely.
San Jose State students were actively participating, and as they left, they received a medal and some water to cool down with. A season that began in tragedy and sadness ended in a positive light for the San Jose State women's water polo team. After the death of former coach Lou Tully in December, the Spartans turned to assistant coach Johnny Bega to take over his reins in the first season as head coach of the Spartans. Bega led SJSU to 20 victories for only the 4th time in school history. This earned Bega Mountain Pacific Sports Federation Coach of the Year honors. Bega had been a member of the water polo coaching staff since 2007 before taking over as interim head coach.
Johnny did a really good job. It was kind of a tough position for him. Our coach passed away in December, and so he kind of had to fill in his shoes, and Coach Lou Tully had been head coach for so many years that it was kind of big shoes to fill. But he did a really good job. He was able to kind of rise to the challenge.
The Spartans finished as the highest scoring team in school history with 393 goals scored. The Spartans ended the year ranked 10th in the nation. And that's all I have for sports. Back to you, ladies.
Thanks, Dustin.
That'll do it for now. Thanks for joining us.
Make sure to check us out on Instagram and Facebook and the Spartan Daily app.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.